It's been a long time on this one, but we're back to Mike's race car here, his 12A fuel injected deal. Asked what happened with this project and stuff like that. They want to know the ECU. We're going to go over all this stuff. First off, we got the engine in the last video. We started doing the fuel system and stuff like that, and Mike left to go do something for a little while on his motorcycle, and someone hit him. So he spent some time in the hospital and stuff like that, and by the time we got back around to this thing, or he recovered, it was winter, so it got put up. But where we are right now, we'll get into it. I'm gonna have to put down the camera and do some cleanup because everything got picked up in a hurry and just kind of thrown in the car, and then the car got put away. But we did get the ECU mounted the other day. As you can see, it's just a basic Microtech LT8S. Trying to keep it budget friendly for them, get this done and stuff like that. So let me get the car cleaned up so I get stuff out of the way so we can get this ECU wired in, because we're not far off from actually having this thing running. Fuel system is all plumbed. We'll go over the fuel system in this too, because you can't use your regular tank and pump obviously for fuel injection. And other than that, we got to do the exhaust on it, wire up this ECU, a little odds and ends. And I mean, the exhaust isn't going to stop us from starting it anyways. So let me get this thing cleaned out so I can get to the stuff, because I got to run some power wires back to the battery. We also relocated the battery in the back, but once I get it cleaned up, we open the hood and you can see where we're at. So, all right, well, like I said, we're I got the hood open. This side's all wired up with the coils and the ignition and power to the ECU and fan relay and all that stuff. Had to run all the wires. It runs back here under the firewall, behind the brake booster and down. We've got the main harness coming through right here, which we got to terminate to the injectors and stuff like that. And then a hole for the vacuum line. So it's all nice and tucked away, neat. But a lot of this wiring in this car was destroyed from being a race car, and somebody cut everything out. So we had to get the headlights working. So we got all the headlights, turn signals, wipers. We've got everything working in the car again. We just rewired it, everything with an FC relay, and rewired the entire car up here while we were at it. Mounted the AEM fuel pressure regulator there. Nothing crazy, like I said. So for the inside, for the fuel pump, like I was saying, you need a surge tank for the carburetor. Carbureted fuel tank doesn't have any baffles in it. So we got a small surge tank, AEM 320 liter per hour pump, which is more than enough fuel. Put the battery back here, circuit breakers, and fuse panel for everything else back there with the multiple pumps, because we have a lift pump as well. The factory pump won't keep up, so we had to add another pump. So now I've got to get under here, wire the few things up, ignition and stuff like that, and then the ECU side will be done, and then some grounds. And I got to get some more grounds on his engine block, so it doesn't fry the ECU when it tries to crank over. Big mistake I've seen a lot of people make, and fry the computers. So let me get to this a little bit more, and then we'll update here. As you can see too, as I forgot, it's turbo 2 intake manifold with a JDL adapter running primary injectors, 550s, and then Rx7 blue 600cc injectors. So we'll have plenty of fuel with this thing too. So that's where we're at, and I'm going to keep hammering along here today and get this to the point of almost running, and we'll see where we're at. So we'll be right. All right, so I kept working on this a little bit yesterday. Got the intake on, stuff like that. I got to pull the throttle body off, plug the holes on the sides here for the secondary flaps, make a bracket for the throttle cable. I got pretty much everything wired up except for TPS and air temp sensor. With Mike pulling this intake off and tossing it around and stuff, he broke the one tab off the air temp, so I got to go find another one. So I just got the TPS and that to hook up. Everything else is hooked up. I cleaned his car out because I couldn't deal with it, and I had to climb in there and get under the dash to hook up the ECU. So that, and vacuumed it and all that. Got this stupid glove box out of the way. All that stuff that was in here from race car. It's got to get addressed at some point here, but it doesn't affect anything else. Everything powers up. Probably can't see it. ECU's up in there, tucked away nice and whatnot. But I was charging the battery up. This one, as you can see, fuel pump's prime, all that good stuff. And everything turns on, cranks over. I got to do a couple more grounds. Prime's up normal. ECU's on, all that good stuff. This thing is real close to running at this point. Like I said, we got to address a few things, hook up a couple sensors there, put the rest of the car back together, and then get an exhaust on it as well. So done with this for today because it has turned into a damn windstorm out here, and the wind with the sand right now, because removing all this stuff, there used to be some sheds here and whatnot, and that one went up, so there's sand everywhere right now. So the wind is blowing pretty good today, and everything's getting covered in sand. Did crank it over, popped a couple times, so it's gonna run. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, that's where we're at the second. We will have this thing running in this video, so hold on, we'll be right there. All right, same a few days later anyways, and we're just about done. Mike's got the throttle body off. We're gonna plug 2 holes in it. TPS is all wired, air temp's all wired. We got the car up front, took some old exhaust, started welding that all together. So we're real close now. I guess gotta put that tailpipe little piece on, a hanger. We can slam this thing back on the ground, and we made an intake. It is somewhere in pieces right now. So as soon as we finish welding that pipe up and get the exhaust on, we'll be right back up here and show you what I did for the intake. It's real simple. You can do it real easy with OEM parts. So that's where we're at right now, and we drove it up here. So yeah, we'll explain that a little more in detail in a minute. But let us get this welded up, and we'll should have this thing running shortly, but we'll come back to that intake and stuff and show you how exactly we did it before we actually start this thing and move it around. So let us get that done. Anyhow, so that's the FC NA intake on there. We just put a little 45 on it. That's all good. Mike had to fix some leaks. Still got to hook up his wideband, but we got the exhaust on. Is it in gear? Is it going to drive away? No, it may start. First try. There's it running. Your tack works. Here we go, loud Harley, because it's necessary. But that one's not that loud. That's amazing. Usually it's always super loud. Mike is wiring up his wideband now, and then we should be able to get a video of this driving. a little bit. He's got 2 wires to hook up on that and then to clean it up. Still got to address all this stuff. But as you can see, it ran. And I think we pretty much covered everything. The FC alternator is simple. As long as you wire it up right, it's just ignition on the top, and you can do a fusible link on the bottom, and then the alternator will charge when you turn the ignition on. So there's that. We just got to make another little bracket off of this, and this thing's good to go. I'm actually super surprised with just those 2 resonators. This thing isn't insanely loud. It's actually pretty quiet, but I mean, we haven't really revved the hell out of it either. It's a fresh engine. And then we got to get his interior back together. Then he's got to get some tires, button it up, and then he may be able to drive this thing someday. But we're gonna let him get this wideband wired in and not prolong this, like watch him wired in. Because I mean, if people want to watch him wired in, I can hold the camera here all day, literally. But we'll be right back. So he's got it wired up, and we're letting it heat. The light just came out of the dash.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, it's not hooked up. There you go, start it. You might have to give it throttle. Keep it running. Lots of good vacuum. Done. Sucked our water down. Alright, so we'll be right back with this thing driving. And here we are. Mike's gonna try and drive it. Maybe. There it is. Everything's working. We have no tune on this thing yet, so I'm actually surprised. Doesn't sound horrible either. But we got some finishing and buttoning up to do on this thing, and some ground wires. TPS is doing some funky stuff, and now he's blowing donuts with a fresh motor that doesn't have any miles on it. So and then he stalled it. But we'll be back with more stuff on this car, and it's where we are for right now. But it moves again. I don't know where he's going with it, but I guess he's hill climbing. We'll be back.